except for the transmission on a PTO pump drive, has been removed off the truck. All the parts that are going to be reinstalled new are on order. They're currently building those components to put on. Once they do that, they'll also replace that PTO pump. So that was as of today, about 2 o'clock, so they have that done. I also sent out a letter, or gave a letter to residents on Countryside that have steel culverts that are in their driveways at a time to see if they would want to participate in the program that we offer for culvert replacements, that ball rolling, along with, I talked with the engineer about a few inlet basins on the street that currently have steel piping into them. Replace it if you needed us or wanted us to replace that plastic as well while we're doing things. We have a few sinkholes and other issues, so we're going to be ahead of the paving contractors. Hopefully, we're going to be almost a month ahead of the contractors, so we can get in, do our work, get out of their way, and they can do their work, and it hopefully goes seamlessly. And that is all I have.
Questions of the street commissioner?
I saw trees planted along the central detention basin.
Yes. After Public Utilities talked with the residents that came in for the issues that they had worried about, we walked over there, the engineer, myself, and the residents, and talked and came up with a pattern to plant the trees that they would be happy with. And when we left that meeting, all the residents that were involved, so the Greenleafs and their neighbor, both were ecstatic and said that is exactly what they had in mind. And we then promptly planted that out to get that as a done chapter for us. So we continue to watch them and water them if need be, depending on weather.
How tall are the trees that are planted?
The pine trees were right around about 5 feet, and then the arborvitaes were similar,
It's like a foot a year or something for those.
roughly.
Thank you.
The dirt, the idea of putting that mound of dirt that you put there.
So the mound of dirt was in response to, they were concerned with if we did a 5-foot tree, would it block it? It would take so many years. And so we suggested by adding a few feet of dirt, which worked in our favor from a ditching project, we needed to get rid of the dirt anyway. We built a small mound on top of there and planted those trees, which turned that 5-foot tree into a 10 to 12-foot tree. Essentially right off for them, so they were happy. We're just gonna let that grow grass over and kind of return to its native.
Any other questions of the street commissioner? Street committee.
Street committee. I don't really know where to start. We have a lot, and you have some minutes in front of you that I hope you have reviewed. The truck litter that went on at the Countryside, the street bids, the street bids were supposed to be last Friday, and Eric postponed them to this coming Wednesday, which the mayor already announced that's the 16th of July at noon. Where are we? And I have other things going on that aren't necessarily street. That cemetery walk that has to do with you. The mayor and I heard, and I think he told multiple people, there is what's it called, Mayor? A grant for the cemetery. It can't include Rarick, but it can include the new one for improvements of up to $2,500. And you have to create something that is useful to the cemetery. So in our case, it would be something like a path or expanding the property or trimming around where maybe there's overhang of bushes. So Tim and I, if Thursday or Friday is good with you, let's get that done.
Okay.
And I think, Danielle, was that the end of the month that has to be in?
Yeah, July 31st.
July 31st, and Mr. Berger graciously offered to write that. So I appreciate that very much, Chris Berger. We do have other things on the streets. So, the clothes. you want to bring up the hotspot of clothes. Do you want to go with that,
Okay, that's fine.
please?
So the uniforms that have been discussed, I got some samples, I forwarded them to the street committee and HR, to Chris and Dennis, from there. I think I covered everybody there. At any rate, for samples, I have them here as well, if anybody wants to see. Those.
Pass it around.
And that-
And start telling us a little bit about it.
So the clothes will be similar to what has been, meaning blue pants in color, fluorescent t-shirts and or blue t-shirts with the logo on the back and also on the rest of the shirt. In the packet that we have had, that was given to us by another community, that they kind of use as their guideline. The other items in there are an example of what's on here. Those don't have the insignia in the digital outlook, but it'll be the same on the breast or in the back or both, depending on what it is, if it's an overall or a jacket or a shirt or whatnot. The shirts, the first two shirts there, the short sleeve shirts are between $15 and $16, depending on quantity ordered. And they are also available in long sleeve, and those are also $15 to $16. The hoodie, the Cornerstone hoodie, the high vis, is $48. The dry blend hoodie is $40. The fleece, which is that, I believe, is the quarter zip looking one, is $53. I wrote the price on those pictures as well in the corner there. And then the lined vest is $100. There is a setup, one-time setup fee of $40 for the embroidery and a $13 change in color, depending black or white, as they do them. So we kind of want to group them as best we can when we have it. The pant price and the shirt prices do vary a little bit. Only due to the fact of double XL would be a $2 charge and a triple X would be a $3 upcharge. So depending on what the guys wear, which I did not ask them yet what they size wise. And so, but on the website, for the Future Image website, you can put these numbers in and see that. I also have the rough list that Chris and Dennis and Ruth and Mayor have seen. I have others as well, if you want to take a peek at those with the prices that can be also within a few dollars of those prices, just given the climate.
Is this a reimbursement program or?
So initially what it would be an initial buy of uniforms to get the guys up and going with the lot, which is right around about $100. And then after that, the idea is $300 a year that they would take and choose out of a list that they would pick out of the list up to $300. Once everybody has given the things that they need or would like, we order at one time, at one PO. The guys don't actually physically get a check and then go get it and submit a receipt for that.
So the village is paying this,
Yes,
based on an invoice.
Correct.
By you.
Correct.
The fiscal officer.
correct.
All right, I got it.
Yep.
Have you physically felt these items to see their
So
quality?
these items right now are currently being used by Orange Village. Their uniforms, so I have, and walking up to the guy, tapping him on the shoulder, but, but they are quality.
Okay.
They're not a thing.
$47 for a sweatshirt, which is a great deal.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a really thin sweatshirt.
Right,
It has to be warm in the winter.
Right. So there is some different versions of that sweatshirt in that they can pick out, for lining wise and such.
Chris Bell.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Do they like it?
This is the same company.
Yes, yeah, honestly, these are the same t-shirts the t-shirts that we currently have, these fluorescents, were printed by this company, that you guys have used in the past, and they have done all the work for us in the past with these particular.
That color code is excellent, right there. I mean, when they're out there working.
Absolutely. And to be honest, the high vis is always the best option for the guys, and I'll always try to encourage them to pick the high vis. The downside is it does look dirty quickly, but if you noticed in the one picture there, there's a black panel now. That helps keep the guys looking a little nicer.
Will there be names on the individual shirts?
We can add the name on the shirt if that is what you guys would desire. Typically, in the past, we have never had the name on the shirts, but we can add that.
So it probably costs a couple bucks more per shirt.
If you want a name on it, it's a little bit of just because they get the screen.
During the winter months, what's added to their jackets for visibility?
So right now, we have high-vis jackets that are this color with reflective tape and a black panel. But the guys each were in the past given one of those jackets every couple of years. So they do fall apart, and most of the guys just wear their Carhartts and things. If they're going to be wearing the darker colors and the non-reflective or non-high-vis stuff, I will start to push a vest on top of that, especially if they're on the road working.
First question is, we want imagine first names.
They could be first and last. It could be however you would like it to be.
I would think first name's great,
That's fine.
but we let them decide.
I mean, the idea here is that if the resident sees a service department employee or a police officer, they can say, this officer by name did this for me, and let us know.
It's a great idea. I have a name just for the simple fact of when they go do something that is wonderful, the resident can say, Tim did this, or Thad, or Jeff, or Rick, or Ron. On the flip side, if it wasn't as nice of an encounter as we would like them to have, they can also say, this person did this as well, and we can address those issues.
I'm thinking positive.
Yeah.
I don't foresee that ever being an issue with our guys. They're very, very good group.
And is there a sense among council about names, so,
I like names.
Yeah.
At least a first name.
first name?
That's fine.
Sounds good.
Any other questions on the street committee?
Yeah, I've got one. So on the list that you provided to us, I read a lot of the line items that are talking about safety green. Are we having any uniforms that are in green? Because I didn't hear that in your opening presentation.
The high-vis would be the safety green.
Oh, okay, so what we're calling yellow or something, they call it safety green?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. That answers that question.
Ruth, you want to make a motion?
But can I just say, before we pay for the logo, it should be Village of South Russell. And I'm a little sensitive to that because we have a legal case for that one, so it should be Village of South Russell.
Well, that's our official title.
Correct.
So we have to change it to that? I
Say
love,
Village of South-
I love South Russell Village. Why put another
Our
letter?
shirts have never said it. I mean, the current shirt.
Well, it says South Russell Village right now.
Right, but I'm just saying, if we're gonna
That's
pay,
the point. It's, yeah.
if we're gonna make it the logo, we'll have to pay for the setup going forward, might as well.
Of course, we had to do it for the vehicles, so why should we do it? for
No, we didn't do it for the 100 shirts either,
Yeah,
guys.
we're restarting the clock here, so.
Okay, Ruth, let's
Sounds good.
put this thing in bed and get a motion.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the bid prices from Future Image with the, I want to say protocol that was part done by HR and by streets for the street department going forward. What am I missing? Accept it as is.
Good.
Are you gonna do the dollar amount per person?
Well, it's what we wrote. What was it, the 1170?
$1,200 per person.
To begin with,
Yeah.
and then it goes from there.
1,200 initially and then 300 per year afterward.
Okay, that's been moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Just one thing, you guys are getting 2 pairs of boots predictably with the $500.
So that would be, the boot allowance would be separate from the uniforms.
Yeah,
And the proposal is $500 a year, given July and January for boots and associated items to boots. So $250, that would be they buy and submit a receipt.
okay.
And
So that part is reimbursement.
that part would be reimbursed.
And then you pick the boot they want or more comfortable within the price range, et cetera, and that's received.
Correct.
And then-
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion, okay, 5-1. All right, motion passes. Street committee, anything else, Bruce?
I have a proposal to meet. I'm sorry I'll be behind, I have too many things going on. I would like to meet, please forgive me. I'm behind. I'll bring it up later, sorry, I can't find it.
Move on that. Just to let you know, just spending $1,200 on 5 employees, it's gonna cost us $6,000. It'll take us 2 years to come back to breaking even. And in 5 years, we'll be up about almost $7,000, not counting for inflation. All right,
The Cintas.
compared to Cintas, yes. At this time, we're going to jump back to visitors. Kyle Cantor hasn't arrived, so please, Kyle, come in if you'd like, grab a seat up front. I do need you to sign in there with your address.
Okay.
And so you're with Sugar Bush also. I knew you from someplace. So please sign your name and give us your address. We have visitors who speak we give them 5 minutes. After 3 minutes, we usually give a little couple fingers to say, hey, you got 2 minutes left. But this issue, probably the main thing, did we have to pick a public facilities committee meeting date?
I was going to propose August 8th at 9 a.m.
Okay.
Be after the finance meeting.
Okay, so at August the 8th at 9 a.m. would be a public utilities committee where we would really go through this. We would encourage people to attend. It's it'll be here.
Yeah,
It's pretty informal.
Okay.
Just let me do it, if I can do it now. At 9 a.m. on August the 8th, where we want to charge grass, past bills, anything you have, the history. A lot of people up here know a lot of the history. Some people barely know where Sugar Bush is, so it's just a chance to talk. What I said earlier this evening, the history of Sugar Bush, I know in 2014, when we paved Bell Road, we put up a barricade under the culvert, and we had a heck of a storm, and all the backup silt went right into your property, silt pond, whatever. We cleaned that out. I think there was another time we cleaned out your silt pond, which was just 2 years ago, I believe. We had a man walk the property. He, using a special piece of equipment, that basically said, this is what I can do for you, which is to go all the way across the silt pond before it hits the lake and grab all that stuff and put it. So that's possible. That was like 32,000 a couple of years ago. When we walked it last week, 2 weeks ago, I walked with our engineer and with representatives of Green River Watershed Partners. Green River Watershed Partners, if you know them, their advice would be turn it back into a creek. Engineer said our Manor Brook floodplain is probably causing the new island that was formed in the last 18 months. So I think that's where we stand at two opposite ends, and that's what we want to do with the Public Utilities Committee. what would happen at the Public Utilities Committee meeting, we hear from everybody, not gonna be less than an hour, and just let everybody talk and give us all the facts. And then eventually, the Public Utilities Committee is gonna come here and say, this is what we recommend. It would be something I would assume by September, a decision would be made, a formal decision at a council meeting. Everyone would know ahead of time what we're going to do or what we're not going to do. Now I've taken over your 5 minutes. Kyle, the floor is-
This doesn't,
Motion one, Kyle's just here from a baseball game too, so thank you for coming in. You're fine.
Who's won? It's still going on. It's still going on, so I'm happy to be here. Do I need to state my name or anything like that?
Oh, yes, pardon, yes. If you have to state your name and address.
Kyle Cantor, 36 Sugar Bush Lane.
Tim Shaw, 1116 Bell Road. I'm the only resident of the Sugar Bush Homeowners Association on the opposite side of the lake.
But he's right at the mouth, where the.
In the greenhouse. So, okay.
I think a couple of things that I would add to, so CT Corp is the firm that designed the current silt pond, which we partnered on and put money towards, and you guys helped and really paid for the bulk of the creation of that silt pond, which was kind of in reaction to the Manbrook improvement. And I guess if I back up, all of this is a result of the good work that you guys are doing of improving drainage and water flow from up here. All of that is now coming down here, which is a good high-class problem, I suppose. I think it might be the last one because the dam downstream from that, I don't think that there's silt issues. Other water issue maybe. But so once CT Corp designed the size and volume of what this silt pond holds based on water flow, they have a water meter there on Bell under at the culvert to measure water flow. So we have, and we can come to the utilities meeting with all the information, the size, the depth. They designed it, then they measured it with the intent of being able to then measure how quickly it filled up. So it took 18 months, it was totally full. Like, we never even went back to say, like, is it half full now? Like, it's totally full. And the biggest issue I think that currently exists is that, call it a third of the lake. It's not the whole part of the lake, but where the water runs fastest still has a little bit of depth, but is filled. But then it spits the silt off to the side. So you heard the mayor reference the island. Tim looks out at what is now an island, and the lake is, kind of shrinking. And there's a large part of the island that kids just got stuck in a boat that's now only like 3-4 inches. Sorry, the lake that's 3 or 4 inches deep. That used to be multiple feet deep. And so I think what the plan needs to be is, one, that we need to remedy the lake situation, but I think that's a bigger project. However, we can easily control the water level of the lake, pending massive fast rainstorms, but we can control the water level of the lake, so it's really just a dirt removal at that point. And then a regular plan on the silt pond. And I think if we get the lake under control and we just have a regular plan on the silt pond, annual, biannual, whatever it is, then we'll be in good shape. We can accommodate everything that's coming down. And again, it's all flowing down the way that it was designed to. It's just now dumping into, our lake is essentially become the silt pond of, from Bell Meadow, where the water table is up there, all the way down to our lake. So I'm happy to.
If I may, yeah, just for those of you that can't picture this in mind, from the north, from Bell Meadow down through Fox Run, we're basically stormwater drain, all drains through since the improvement of Bell Road, a much larger culvert under Bell Road, into a smaller culvert that goes under Sugar Bush and feeds our little 4 or 5 acre lake. I'm not sure exactly how big it is, with a spillway at the west end that then feeds downstream from there. So we don't have rising water in our lake because we have a spillway at the end. But we don't have any control over the entrance through a narrow channel that feeds into the lake through a dugout, and that's what we're calling the silt pond, that is supposed to catch the debris that comes into stormwater, capture it, and keep it from feeding into the lake. And that's what continuously fills up from the stormwater flow in, fills up, and then that silt has nowhere to go. And so it's overflowing the spillway or the silt pond, and it's now created little islands and is now flowing out into the lake, and that section of the lake should normally be 3 or 4 feet, and it's now like 6 inches. So the problem is only getting worse as that silt migrates into the larger lake.
Okay, regretfully, these two gentlemen are on public utilities and they have become not experts, but they're getting closer. So I would encourage you to have as much information as you can get to us ahead of time, so we can have it, read it, and be prepared, and let people know, it'll come and there'll be a discussion, there'll be no action taken, but it'll be a face-to-face.
And I welcome anyone who would like to come. Probably the best place to view the lake and the consequences is standing on my deck. So you're welcome to come stand on my deck, and you can actually see the depth of the lake and the consequence of exactly what we're talking about.
And the silt pond would be
And the silt pond would be just to the east of that.
So we're gonna need the engineer present.
Yes.
I mean, there's 2 questions. I think we've already established that. One of them is the silt came from Anderbrook phase 1. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is, what do we do, if anything, about your silt pond and your lake? And then I guess the third thing is, can we stop this from happening like it's happened this time? And I don't know, that's an engineering question I'd like to pose to the engineer. I mean, we can do this every 2 years, something like that. The cost is gonna go up, and if there's an engineering solution, maybe we should explore that. I don't know yet, but we'll need the engineer at the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
have them
can,
there.
we can, I mean, some of the issue goes back to at one point when Fox Run was developed, there was a retention pond that would have filled up, not too different from what you guys suggested over here. The developer was allowed to remove it, so now there's that would have served the way this one is meant to be served and done some of that. Now they have that big part there, that just sits there.
So our bi-weekly 100-year storms.
Yeah, I mean, it's all coming down there, so agreed, we're open to however we can be a part of the solution. There's just 10 of us in our issue, so it's not
We dealt with 11 people on Parklands, or 11 homeowner groups, people on Martha, so that central retention basin evidently solved their problem, at least so far. And we're doing stormwater mitigation throughout the village, and we'll keep doing it, hopefully. At some point, we won't have to, but 100-year storms every other week, we're gonna have to deal with it. Okay.
Can I ask a few questions? Have you done soundings? Had somebody go out in a rowboat boat and done the soundings in the lake?
Yeah, we did all of that prior to the development of the current silt pond, so 2 years ago roughly.
Okay,
So I'm sure I have all those measurements.
We have a baseline already, okay?
that might need
And it's a
to.
hard bottom, it's a solid rock bottom in the lake.
I don't know that this is true. I've heard there's no springs to feed Sugar Bush. It's not, it's a pass-through. And then I don't know where that water drains to, behind Coatsworth's house, or where does that go?
Goes to Chelsea Court.
But how does it get there? Like way behind Sugar Bush?
At the west end of our lake, there's actually a spillway.
Okay,
So when the water level, when the rains fill the lake up to a certain level, there are bricks knocked out, Lake Highlands repaired. And that allows a certain amount of water to flow through the spillway, down the hill, and into the next subdivision.
In 2006, we put 475,000 into the drainage area where Chelsea Court comes into Southwood. There's a huge catch basin, there's
I'm aware of it.
split rail fence. We used to get pictures of the basement windows of the water level, like at the basement window on some of the Chelsea courthouses. I mean, that much water was coming.
The gentleman won't like to hear this, but what you described of Silk Pond filling up and lake overflowing is exactly what continues to happen at Pawpaw Lake as well. You guys get the drainage this way, Pawpaw gets the drainage that way. It's a continuing problem.
All right, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Just get us a copy, one copy of all your material. We'll get copies made so that we can have a quick, and also let us know if you're going to plan to project something by chance, so we can be prepared ahead of time.
Okay.
You don't want to sit around 15 minutes while someone muddies that. Thanks for coming. Feel free to stay. Also,
Appreciate it.
chance to get out.
And thanks for the offer to stand on your deck. I might take you up on that.
That's not every night.
It's not cocktail hour.
All right, streets, I want to go back to something, and this is the burial process. We had a burial that, family wanted to have a funeral and burial the same day. We weren't able to do it. Consider this, that if we're going to do something, then we need to know, can we do the burial on that particular day? That we contact the street commissioner, either, it's gotta be physical, in his, at lunch or at the end of the day, so that he can simply walk out and say, okay, can you do the burial next Saturday? Can you do the burial next Saturday? So that we can get an answer to these people. Because what we did, they had a funeral on one day and had to have the burial the next. I think we can improve the process if we improve the communication. But trying to get a hold of him on a Friday or any day, he's sitting on a backhoe someplace, it's not going to work. But I think he's captive at lunch and at the end of the day, plus his guys are there. You know, the last one, it was like, can you do it? No, I have my kids. Can you do it? No, we're going sidewalks. Just, it didn't work. But I think if we tried that, just procedure wise.
How much notice did the village have that this family wanted to do it same day and that kind of thing?
I think it was over a week.
Over a week?
It was a cremation burial.
Okay.
But they wanted the weekend, and do we have on the website that we try to get them done during the week?
But they're allowed to do it on the weekend in the morning.
So let me clarify, they asked and it took us a week to get back to them?
We called, we left a message, and we emailed, and we didn't hear anything. And then when we checked back, I think it was like on a Friday, I don't have the exact dates, and I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday that we found out it was no. And by that point, they already made the arrangements with the church for the mass and the service. So everybody was gone and back to where they lived, and then they did the burial with just the son and daughter.
Because they were waiting on a response from us? What's the problem?
I responded to them on the Tuesday. I don't know when the funeral was. I think the funeral was on, they told them we could not do it on a Saturday. Which could have been 2 or 3 days from the time.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
We at, in properties, which covers the cemetery, we have looked at, or we are in the process of looking at the procedures manual for the cemetery, which was created in 2015, has not been updated since then. So I would suggest that that would be part of the procedures manual, and that we get it in black and white there, and then present it to council with our recommendation.
Thanks. I left in the middle of that cemetery discussion. I don't know if it came up or not.
Well-
It was just my thought on how to be quicker in getting a decision.
Well, they wanted the burial and a funeral on a Saturday?
I believe it was a Saturday.
It was a Saturday?
Yeah.
I think we talked to you on the 9th, we responded on the 13th.
I think whatever day they were in, I think it was a Friday. So we knew the week before, the Thursday or Friday, the week
Yeah.
before, and then
I think the 9th was a Friday, and then we responded back and kind of started the ball rolling on the 13th, which is the following Tuesday.
We're talking about June or July? May. Oh.
But Leslie tried calling over the service department, they were out. She left a voicemail and an email, and we hadn't heard anything. So then I asked the mayor to find what he could find out because he was going over there.
It doesn't reflect positively on the community.
And the resident was upset.
I would be
Rightfully
too.
so.
I would be too.
Um,
I would ask that
Yeah.
someone responds a little faster next time, especially in a terrible time for their family.
So the funeral mass and burial are on the 17th of May?
I have to go back and look at the dates. I don't have it in front of me. I know there's a phone.
They
But,
wanted
it was
the
on-
full service at the cemetery on 5/17.
It's terrible.
Okay.
no,
We failed our resident.
I did talk to him before, and I did talk to him after, and, that kind of describes. this
Yeah,
thing.
I'd be pretty mad if I was a taxpayer and someone couldn't call me back when my family member died.
Okay, we're at the building committee. Ruth, you're up again.
The building committee tried to meet on last Thursday. We didn't quite have a quorum, or I'm not sure if the mayor counts as a quorum. So Bridie was there, and all we did is discuss some issues that were ongoing. One of them is draining of swimming pools. What do you do with the water? Because it usually ends up going on your neighbor's lawns. And Bridie, I believe you emailed me something about that.
No, not about the drainage.
Okay, so that's, it's an issue, and we need to kind of figure out how we do that without overloading neighbors' grass and so on and so forth. And then we also talked about that cemetery grant that I mentioned before, and that Chris Berger has judiciously brought up that we need to go over a document that's 10 years old and make sure that we're up to date on that for various reasons. Ruth Griswold and Christy Troyer, when she's over there, are trying assiduously to get on the iWork, the one word IWORQ software. And there've been some, not so much glitches, but just stoppages where it's not necessarily available to them. They have had a person there. And I think that's pretty much what we talked about. David he's very, very busy, of course, all the time. We talked about the pool fences. We did have the variance people come before us. Was it 2 meetings back or 1 meeting back? So, do we want just pool fences, or do we want the covers that this person didn't know a deer or two can walk across those and not fall in? And that's something to think about, because you wouldn't need a fence if they are that secure. But no fence and kids, there's lots to think about. And that was that.
Okay, anything else from the building committee? Question? Two things. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to Daryl. I think he's still out there. He came last Friday morning.
Daryl's here?
Daryl, he usually watches us. He came last Friday to talk about cemetery. Sat down with
Laugh at me, Chris Bell.
Councilman Berger and street commission. Talk about cemetery.
Right.
It was good to see him. If you drive by Gurney School and the Fox Run Homeowner Association, they're not getting along. And what happened is a school probably for years mowed part of Fox Run property. And the Gurney sign is on Fox Run property. So the issue is really in the very back of the Gurney School that bothered people. But it has gone on now for 2 years, I thought. Did you say 2? Somebody?
I know, it's been going on for a long time.
Yeah, it's been going on for a long time. So now no one is mowing it. And it's just sad that, you know, we'll have to go to Fox Run and say, this is your property, we'll get it mowed, but they just can't get along right now. So that's what's happening there. And that's why you see the high grade.
I have become very proficient with the battery operated weed whack. Do you want me to go down there and clean this up?
No, we've pretty much been told to stay out of this. because
Okay.
It's gone with, you know, even the school officials said, hey, school district lawyers, something like that, so that's. Okay, Shelley.
Jim's got something on this.
Look,
Just to add in real quick on the current situation, we are currently still mowing the guardrail and behind the guardrail as we normally do in our right of ways. So we're still maintaining our right of way through that area too.
Be a shame if your mower blade kind of went over that one.
Chief, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I submitted a month-end report, and other than that, I will have some additional information for you in Properties Committee, unless anyone has any questions.
Questions to the chief?
Any update on the resident who passed away on Annandale?
Not yet. We're still waiting for the coroner's report, and we should have that hopefully soon.
Thank you.
I did attend the funeral. David was friends with one of the kids, and it was very nice, very respectful.
Chief, I forgot to give you a compliment earlier. The policy that we came up with on the street department building was just basically plagiarized from yours, scratching out police department, putting in Health Russell. And then also thank you to the solicitor. So she caught some things that needed to be done, and that's why it looks good now. So we worked on it internally, and then it went up to her, and she made it good. Okay, Safety Committee.
Safety Committee, first and foremost, our next meeting is this Thursday at 8 a.m. at the Police Department. All are welcome. Secondly, I'm going to lean on Dennis a little bit here, but just to kind of intro, Chagrin Valley Fire Department had a presentation recently for some local officials, and you probably saw in your council packet, it looks like if they continue running things the way they are now, 2025, their projected budget shortfall is about $603,000. And this is with them already not very competitive with their wages compared to other areas, and also delaying a lot of their capital expenditures because the capital expenditure costs have increased significantly. So they're kind of in a pickle right now, how to move forward. Dennis, I believe you went to the presentation, no?
I did, but I'm precluded from discussing any issues concerning that.
Because your daughter. Oh my goodness. Mr. Mayor, would you like to discuss it?
He was there.
Isn't that interesting twist?
I ended up sitting in the front row, and when you happen to look to the people behind you, it's like shock. They were surprised. We've been down this road before. It was very nicely done, and it wasn't done, no offense to them, it was done in June, it wasn't done in October, which has happened to us before. I think this is, in my opinion, it's the start of the negotiation. I don't think they're going to be paying 12% for the next 2 years, but I do think they have definite issues. I did have contact with Russell Township to ask them if they were interested in bidding. They have a meeting Thursday, they'll let us know on Friday. It is very interesting to note that all the fire chiefs are now down in Columbus at a meeting, so they're probably having a beer right now discussing the situation. We don't want to abuse Russell Township. They and Bainbridge, in fact, are our own options. So my suggestion is, I'll do Russell, maybe you guys do Bainbridge, get a bid out of them, or see what.
Reach out.
See whatever, see if they're willing. The Russell chief is a good guy, we've known him for years, and see.
So
It goes to his trustees, if they're even gonna consider offering to provide fire and EMS.
So this would be responding for fires as well as 911.
EMS.
So replace Chagrin Valley.
They really do. The next meeting is on Wednesday, August the 13th at 6 o'clock. It'll be in the fire station.
And that's the Chagrin one?
It'll be the Chagrin, which is, in the middle of remodeling. Should we we have more than 2 people there.
Also, would you have actually the safety committee there? Is that what you're thinking?
I would think even people beyond the safety committee.
Okay, so if you have 4 or more council members, you should definitely
Is there
notice
gonna be a
it.
screening or is it just?
It was just a PowerPoint before, and I think that's what we'll do again. I don't think there's going to be much additional information besides that packet that was distributed.
What's the date and time on that?
August the 13th, 6 o'clock, at the fire station.
There's significant increases in revenues they made.
If I can make a point here, as of this morning, the inflation rate in the United States of America was 2.35. 12, 12, 12. I believe I'm speaking for everyone here in this room that we want our safety forces to be well equipped. We want them to be well trained, and we want them to be safe. But a 36% increase
Is
at the end of
bumper.
3 years, it's quite a bit of money. Now, I believe that part of the challenge is keeping good people, the part-time people, is that it? They're making $21 an hour, is that it?
I don't know.
We have that?
It's in here, but not something.
Okay, my question is, if you're a new hire, part-time, 23, and you're making $23 an hour, if you had that position for 3 years, are you still making 23? Is this thing indexed? Are there steps? Perhaps if there were steps, the more seniority you had as a part-timer, the more your wage went up. Gradually, this would have been a better way to go instead of asking for, 36%. Everything's going up. I mean, there's no question about that. There's no question about that.
I'll just make a general comment.
Sure.
From Chagrin Falls Township Mayor, our trustee. He basically said, during the meeting, well, the problem is you only increased it 2 or 3% in the second and third year, or whatever your contract. You should have asked for more money, because then we wouldn't be in this position where you're asking for so much money now. So hindsight is always 20/20. And, to the mayor or the trustees' point, yeah, maybe they should have raised the contract prices. But, during those 3 years, to your point, Jerry, stuff has gone up all over. So they're now faced with economizing as much as they can. I believe the average wage that is addressed by the fire department is an average. I believe that the starting pay for a new hire is closer to 19. And the challenge is everybody surrounding pays more. And new recruits out of the fire academy are reluctant to go where they can get a lot more money elsewhere.
But to Jerry's point, imagine the teachers union asking for 12 or 12 and.
Well, a real quick story. When I was negotiating for Berkshire School, for the Berkshire Education Association, I said, 20 minutes west of here is Chagrin Falls Schools. They make $25,000 more a year than we do. And the board said, wow, that's a lot of money. Perhaps you should try to get a job there.
And you did, you showed them.
Okay, I know you weren't at the meeting, but at the Township Association meeting, the Budget Commission spoke to the attendees, and it was all about the issue of property taxes. And you know that there's been a movement in the state to get rid of all property taxes, and the individual that has kind of spearheaded that movement was asked the question, well, what happens if I need EMS services? And the answer was, well, you just bill me for that. If I call EMS or fire, you just bill me. On average, an EMS call is $900. Okay, a police call is about $850. So you got a cat in a tree, that's $900. You got a heart attack, that's $900. But, that's the cost that we're kind of discussing.
Well, if our constituents are willing to pay that much, then we go forward.
Well, we need to put a couple options in front of us, so.
Just from a math standpoint, 12% increase every year for 3 years is a 40% increase over 3 years. Yeah, it compounds. So 40% is what you're looking at.
Anything else on safety?
I have a question procedurally for the solicitor. So if Councilman Galicki is recused from this issue, then is that correct? He would be recused from anything that has to do with this issue.
Correct, and also
Correct.
including the payments.
So, Mayor, somebody from council should step up to help Mr. Val go through the process besides yourself. Just asking if anybody's willing to do it or.
Sounds like you're volunteering, Chris.
Sounds good.
I second that because I get everything else, right? Okay. I'm just saying, I don't think you should have to go alone.
Well, I appreciate that, and I'd love your help, yeah.
Yeah,
So, maybe a breakfast at the Washington Diamond to determine if I can get a better deal out of Russell than he can get out of Bainbridge. He buys a breakfast at the Washington Diamond.
Just remember, anything, and we've gone down this road 4 years ago with the whole Russell Township. And, there are differences in whoever you go with. And you really have to take a look at a big picture in terms of response times, all the costs that are involved.
So you got your hands full.
Yeah, it's more than just a cost thing. It's a big thing.
But, he advised that we also have, 4 years ago, there's extensive records of what was done, what was compared, Chris. So those are available in the archives of the village, so you don't have to start from scratch.
I believe the former councilman did his due diligence on that.
Anything else for the safety committee? I have two things. One, Chagrin Valley Dispatch, thinking of spending money. Chagrin Valley Dispatch did lose Highland Hills. They went with Bedford. And secondly, Chief, I wanted to say thanks for the process you set up to handle all these summer solicitors, these kids that are selling bug spray and power washing and everything else who knock on your door at about 10 till 9 and talking and asking their tuber. And they all talk to my neighbors and they all sit.
Is it real?
All signed up.
We've been quite busy with solicitors, yeah. It's been crazy. They're all from out of state as well, so we've had a number of complaints. We've had them come to the station and get their permits, and in some cases when we call them or when we respond and have a chat with them, the next course of action would be to come to the station in the morning, obtain an application and a permit, and you never see them again. So
The lanyard, though, the residents now know, the kids with the lanyard are.
they've been checked
At
out.
least been through the police
Yes,
department. So thank you for doing that.
very welcome.
Okay, we are now at the HR committee.
Okay, HR committee. Ruth stole our thunder with the uniform policy, so thank you. Our next meeting is tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. here in the same room, Village Hall. I expect to see everyone there. Christie, anything to add?
No.
Okay, that's it.
Questions of the HR committee? Just wanted to mention, if you didn't see one of our residents, the speaker at the 4th of July ceremony. Very impressive.
I read that. It was impressive.
About being a 22-year-old and getting flight. I can just imagine what she went through. She'd be a great speaker for our Veterans Day sometime. So you were there and heard?
I wasn't there. I just read the paper.
Okay, we're at the property committee meeting.
Thank you. Properties will meet July 22nd at 9 a.m. And at this time, I'd like to turn our meeting over to the police chief to talk about the parking lot and the paving.
Thank you, Chris. So I sent the photographs out of the parking lot, and what I would like to do to complete our project once and for all is to pave the section of the project between the police building and the new garage. It's a 20 by 50 area that needs to be paved. We've got asphalt grindings in there. 10 of the guys put them in. They've really helped a lot, but you're getting tracking. They track all the time. They're tracking in the building, tracking in the garage, and we want more of a permanent solution. So what we've done is reached out to these paving contractors. The job would consist of just putting a binder layer down, which is 2.5 to 3 inches of the more heavier aggregate. And then when we decide it's time to pave the campus, we would go right over that. So it's going to be acting as a base as what we have at the rest of the campus at this time. We've done some repairs in the past. We've done that fogging. So we've got some repair areas that need some attention. But the whole idea was that once the salt dome project was finished and all the heavy equipment was off campus, then we would take the time and repave the entire campus. So all we're looking to do is put a base layer down in that 20 by 50 area between the PD and the new garage.
If you were ever to connect the two buildings, you would simply.
Yeah, you would saw cut 20 feet off of it, and they would dig the footer between the two buildings. So it would be a simple fix, yeah. It would be nice to have that finished off, but again, this is just a simple base layer. So it's nothing fancy. It's just going to bind everything together and give us a solid surface.
Back to Chris.
Okay, so at this time, a motion to approve the bid contract. This is advanced asphalt paving for a total of $6,637 even.
Correct.
And to note that this is part of the budget from the gift.
Yes, this line will come from the donation, so we have enough money left in that line to complete this. So this is donation money as well.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. In our notes from our June 26th meeting, we talked about the flags that we fly on Bell and 306. And I'm simply bringing this to council's attention that we are considering changing from flags to bunting.
From US flag.
US flags to bunting. Simply because when we fly the flag, we don't fly it in compliance with federal regulation because we don't light it at night. And so we're talking about it. So I wanted to make council aware of that discussion, and if you have thoughts or ideas, certainly the property committee would love to hear that. Then I'm going to say that concludes the report of properties, subject to anything from Councilman Galicki.
Did you want to make a motion about applying for the cemetery?
Oh, I apologize. Yes, so let me do that. So I would, at this time, make the motion that council approve myself, the fiscal officer, and the mayor to go out to make the application for the state grant for the cemetery for extraordinary repairs, maintenance, and training for $2,500. So moved.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If anybody is so inclined to join Tim and I and walking around there to see exactly what we could do as regards that grant. I guess we'll come up with a time that suits you, that doesn't involve work, like it might be the end of the day. Just let me know if you're interested.
This is the new cemetery.
It can only be the new
Only,
cemetery.
yes, it
Yeah.
must be an open cemetery, and the Rarick is closed.
Yeah.
So. Okay,
Anything else for property?
Nope.
Okay, come, look,
then we go on to parks, or you got more stuff?
no, I got stuff for property.
Okay,
Jimmy Sustar, our cleaning guy, he'll be leaving us on probably December after his surgery. He has recommended, what we've talked, that he also does the Valley Lutheran Church. He would like to keep that job, and he would like to keep us. So I contacted the pastor of the Valley Lutheran Church to see if we can kind of simplify hiring somebody, get this person, the same person, it'd be just easier. But the idea that, hey, this is a part-time job because when Tim is healthy, we would like to have him back. So
Does he plan it to be like a couple months he'll be out?
I think between that and then to the next surgery,
So it might be more than that.
that could be.
Chris, this doesn't have anything to do with land, right?
Nope.
Okay. One clarification.
Judy Harvey was in today. She hires her own landscaper to take care of the Tom Harvey Memorial Garden. And she's very happy, I think, when I left, she was very happy. And I don't know what else happened after that, anything.
They just continued, they cleaned and edged and planted some more flowers in there, and then just went over the whole thing, and they were happy with the state it was in and from where they could take it.
She had her own chimney.
Oh, yeah, she's very happy. Also, I mentioned those shirts. We could not see Jeff, the hay has gotten so high, you could not see him. Pardon me, you couldn't hear him or see him, but you could see his shirt. It looked like a mouse in a maze when he was mowing this afternoon. Cemetery grant we took care of, we talked about Stero. Some scout projects. Bat houses were submitted, and I think they're already up. The observation platform is already done. We have a kid that's interested in landscaping on the East Washington side. He's going to come up with a proposal. And Walk the Park, a yearly walk with Pete McDonald from the Western Reserve Land Conservancy. He's got some more ideas that not so restrictive and what we can do. We always operated that we couldn't even put down gravel or mud. But he's looking at other things. And he also encouraged us to find someone to do the burn. He said, don't hold your breath basically until the county can come and do the burn. So it may be something to consider. We did look at Davy Tree, and Davy Tree wants 10 grand to do the burn. So, wow. Okay, we are at the Parks Committee.
okay. So we are going to schedule a Parks Committee meeting. I have all the email addresses, so I will send out a notice tonight.
And I have a couple proposed dates, so we'll talk
Okay.
before we leave.
Okay. As part of our discussion for the Fall Festival, I note that in the last park meeting, there was a discussion of food trucks as opposed to the village providing our hot dogs, et cetera, et cetera. I wasn't sure how council felt about that,
We
so I
feel
brought
great
it up.
about it.
Huh?
We feel great about it.
What, that you don't want to do?
Well, our main hot dog workers have had it. They are done with the hot dogs on Sundays, and that's understandable.
And I fully concur with that, but that doesn't mean that we can't find a way to continue to do that without burdening our administrative staff and our department.
That's true. That's true.
With enough notice, perhaps there would be enough volunteers.
They don't necessarily have to be cooked on the grill either.
Well, what concerns me is that we're going from, here's a hot dog, a bag of chips, et cetera, to, oh, if you want something to eat, there's a food truck, get out your wallet and buy it yourself.
Yeah, this park you paid for.
Yeah, I mean, to me, there's something that doesn't quite mesh with that thinking.
Makes sense.
So I'm,
So we'll talk about it.
we want more discussion at the park committee meeting, but if council members would like to weigh in, I'm all ears. Okay? The other issue I want to bring to your attention is the playground and the mulching issue. Okay? And I asked the street commissioner to explain what the issue is.
So the insurance company came and looked over everything. They said we were deficient in the amount of mulch. The state recommends for the height of platform, that our highest platform would be 12 inches of mulch, being a total depth. So that's a pretty significant amount of material. We went down and we dug 4 test holes throughout the playground and measured the depth of the current mulch that's there. We're at 7 inches.
So we have to have truckloads of mulch delivered, or we have it?
We would have to have it delivered, and I did show a quote for installation of new mulch put in. And it's cheaper than we can do it.
By having it actually blown in.
Correct. And
Okay.
they have done it in a day.
So I want to make sure I understand. It's just the depth of the mulch down to the ground?
Correct. So they require 12 inches for the platform height that we have, which I sent a copy of that to you, and it is 12 inches of mulch required from the height, meaning there
I'm thinking little kids' legs are going to be buried up to their knees.
Well, I mean, the material does pack a bit, so it does compress a bit, so it isn't as loose as you would think.
Right.
So there are options here that we want to make council aware of. Currently, we're using a wood bark mulch, shredded mulch material, okay? Which is fine. We could go to
A lower surface.
a water permeable surface. We could use shredded tires. I mean, there's all sorts of options that could be used and have been used. But to continue with what we have, I want you to be aware, I mean, we're talking about $6,000-7,000.
We were figuring on it being less, putting 12 inches of mulch in.
Yeah,
So subtracting 7 inches we already have off of that 12, but we were in the
Okay.
neighborhood of about almost $9,000.
yeah,
Have the kids' carpet, wood chip mulch put in.
okay. And I'm not saying that we have been putting mulch down every year, and we did see the administrative assistant did provide us with copies of the bills, and it was in the $1,500 to $2,000 range, something of that nature, every year to replace, because this mulch disappears. Okay, it either compacts, the animals carry it off, whatever. So every year it has to be refreshed. And frankly, I wasn't aware that we had this standard from the insurance company. But so, 5 inches is a big hit this year, but I'm telling you, next year, I mean, we need to put it in the budget that, it's gonna be somewhere in the $2,500 to $3,000 range every year to replace mulch. And I don't know what happens if we go to rubberized, shredded tires or whatever. I don't know if the animals carry that off too, or if it stays.
It does
Because
stink.
we did get a Nature Works grant, so I don't know if you can.
So you can't, okay, so that may be a complicating factor. But I wanted to bring it to your attention. I mean, we're trying to work through the issues. And the other thing, obviously, that's concerning is it's July. By the time you put this down, it's going to be mid-August, something like that. We're going to get 3 months, and then we're going to be into winter time. And so we're not gonna get the full value of the replacement this year. But this came from the insurance company, so I bring it to your attention.
If I may add, the original intent of the playground was to be as natural
Okay?
as possible.
And that's what the fiscal officer just advised me of, is that we have a grant that it's supposed to be natural. So if we stay with what we have, I'm just telling you, we're gonna spend some money.
Did the insurance company give us a deadline?
They wanted us to respond like within 30 days. In the past, we took pictures and told them what we had. If you can't do the full amount this year, I'm assuming if you put some in this year and said, given it's the end of the season, we hope to do it next year, that may
Okay,
satisfy them.
so maybe what we do is we look to do half of it. Do 3 inches this year and then top it off to the full 12 inches next year. Maybe, I don't know.
Well,
Well,
I was told from, I don't know firsthand because I wasn't here, but I was told that it needed to be brought up from day one. They needed to bring more up. It was never full to begin with.
Okay.
Is what I was told.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
So, we're on it.
We may be careful because
So, and again, we'll bring it up at the Parks Committee meeting and we'll continue the discussions, but we're gonna have to spend some money.
There is another distasteful solution. Shut down the platform. I'm not sure we want to do that.
Well, let me suggest this to you. If the minimum equipment height is 4 feet, then the requirement drops to 6 inches of material, which means even if we don't have to do anything this year, we're gonna have to do something next year, because we're gonna be less than 6 inches. So this is an ongoing maintenance issue that needs to have a line item in the budget, and we need to accept it.
I'm thinking of, we've been notified by an insurance company, and now we're on public record, that we're 5 inches short of what we should have in this playground, that children are using, I don't know, a lot. And as such, someone has to close the 12 inches, it's the, cushion fall, presumably, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't happened, knock on wood, we don't want it to happen, but it may be that the most efficient solution is to close down whatever the tallest structure is. I think it's a little house, right?
it'd be the slides.
A slide, yeah. And I'd hate to do that, but perhaps I'd say you should consider that too.
Well, let's get the mulch in there, and then we can keep the park going.
I was going to say, I think closing down parts of the park is not a good decision for the taxpayers. Let's bite the bullet, find the money, add the mulch, and go forward and have a happy summer.
Okay, well, we will make a decision next week and move on it.
Anything else for
That's
the
it, that's it from the parks.
Parks Committee? Questions of the Parks Committee? 2 comments. I advise you all to walk behind the new restroom. In my lay opinion, it was not built properly. When you look at the stack, it's all concreted in. It's just basically, you can look at it and it just goes like this.
So facing the restroom from the parking lot, the right stack is leaning to the right. The left stack is actually to the back a little bit. I was in contact with the company and have to send them pictures, so right now I just need to send them pictures over, but it's been a little precarious with emailing pictures like this, so. But I'll have those to them and they can make their decision what they need to do.
That building has to be under some type of warranty,
I would assume that it's under a 1 year. So they want to see how bad it is, and they want to see it for themselves. So before they do say.
The nice thing is there's some vertical boards that are back there, and you can just see the stack just goes off like this. I mean, just looking at it, you can see that it's not properly built. One other thing before we jump, I grabbed these flowers. These flowers are around the South Russell sign that's out there. Some of you may remember them. They were from the art studio. As soon as these are done blooming, then we're gonna take a good hard look at the sign up here to make sure that it's okay. And speaking of signs, can you just, I don't want to blindside you, but that sign behind the chief,
Yes,
can we just talk about those while we're here?
so the signs are, corner signs are located, they should be located in every entrance and exit to the village. This particular one came off of 306 over the winter, it was run down helplessly. And so it has to be repaired, but it's cracked on the hanging brackets, but as you can see as well, there's smaller damage to it, and it's just aging. They need to be refurbished. I believe they can be refurbished versus buying a new sign.
It also says South Russell Village on them.
No, it has to say Village of South Russell, or else.
You have to change the shirt.
What's it cost to do something like that?
I haven't gotten a cost on them yet, because each one in refurbish is a different price than new. So the decision has to be made, do you want to try to refurbish them and have that price, or do we need to have them new? And can some of them be refurbished? Some of them are in worse, worse shape than
We
these.
need one on Bell heading to Newberry. So
Yeah.
now we're at least two.
Snyder.
Snyder, Bell, Snyder, 306, down by the Lantern.
Okay.
I think they're like, I thought they were like $1,800 a piece.
Yeah, last time we bought them, about 2 a year per year, because they were expensive.
About 1,800 sounds about right.
I think so.
Just talking.
Okay,
I'm surprised that they're foam, that surprised me.
They're high density foam, that they're gold leafed, and, I mean, they're very nice signs.
So that gold is gold leaf?
It used to be.
Yeah.
Gold paint. Does anybody else think that they look really dull and they need some color?
No.
I do. I think they need some kind of color.
okay. Well, from a financial standpoint, if they're $1,800 new, if that's the number, if the refurbishment is $1,500, buy new.
Yeah, new sign.
If the refurbishment is $500, then maybe we need to refurbish what we can. But until you give us numbers, I can't make a
Let's also take a look at them. I'm not artistic, but I've been told they're dated. They're not, whatever. So anyhow,
They're also one-sided,
okay.
so.
Just on the
Well, if
way.
you're leaving,
Yeah.
welcome to
Scary tells you thanks for coming.
There are places that do both sides, just so you know.
Sure.
Okay, anything, wasn't parts either, thanks, Chris, we'll just keep jumping at you. Public utilities,
Yes. Public Utilities Committee met last Friday. Minutes are forthcoming. Number of topics were discussed, and of course, the Fairview Hazelwood project is probably the most significant of them. Turns out that the calculations for the county engineer's request as to the flow rate to the north, should this project be done, are taking longer than planned, such that it looks like that should be completed in July, but we're going to possibly bid out in August, and maybe award in September, is now what the engineer is predicting. So what that means is that the project will definitely not be completed before school starts. And we'll be digging up, it seems, Fairview and Hazelwood, that, basically that triangle there, into the winter. And once we have the bids out and some kind of answer back from potential bidders, we can then approach Russell with an actual number. And say, this is what it's going to cost, we got a grant for this, you guys could be willing to, take half of it. And so far, they've been receptive, we'll see what their reaction to is the number, and what the number might be. The engineers believe that it'll be about $96,000, could be up or down, but we'll see what happens probably in August, at a bid opening. So, next meeting, as was discussed earlier, is on August 8th, 9 a.m. here at Village Hall. We will add, Mayor, as directed, the Sugar Bush issue, open mayor, or the engineer can attend. And Jerry has more to add, please do.
I have nothing to add.
Questions of the Public Utilities Committee?
August 8th at what time, Mark?
9 o'clock,
Okay.
sorry.
Wait a minute, did we say 8? I'm sorry.
I thought finance was,
Finance is 8, Public Utilities,
Yeah.
sorry, my bad.
Okay.
No questions of Public Utilities. I have some information. I'm going to try to be really smooth. Eric and Kim Shuffleton walked the Manor Brook floodplain to take a look at what we got, and what was growing, what's not growing. She will give us a written report on the vegetation. He's very happy, Eric is very happy with everything. It's working as Sugar Bush has attested. It's working very well. We have some neighborhood swale issues, and basically these are occurring when an older development has a new development coming behind it. So the first one we'll talk about is Laurel and Countryside. Laurel was their first, Country Estates came in, and what you end up with is you have backyards that come next to each other, and their backyards were always slanted to send the water towards the other guy. Well, all their swales over these 50 years have filled in, and they would like us to do a swale basically from Bell Road behind Laurel all the way up to Hazelwood. That's all on private property. So that's
from Bell Road,
to Hazelwood,
okay,
and just in everyone's backyard, just to cut a swale.
sort of like we did north of Bell and 306.
Yes, yes.
But, okay.
The next one is where Shearbrook in Chagrin Lakes was their first, and 50 years later, Wembley came in behind them. What you're ending up with is the interurban separates Chagrin Falls from Bainbridge. Trees on the interurban are falling onto to South Russell property. And I contacted Bainbridge, and they said, basically go pound salt, talk to Carmela Shale from Java Soil and Water. Well, this resource was fabulous. She came with maps, met with the homeowners and said, look, let's walk back there. Those trees are from the interurban. They belong to Wembley. It's going to be up to Wembley to take care of them. Now, solicitor, I know there's an issue, and I can't talk too much. When a tree falls on your property from somebody else's property, that's not a pleasant situation.
So if it's a damaged or diseased tree and you had notice of it, then yes, you are liable if it falls onto your neighbor's property and creates some damage. But just because a storm hits, if it's a live tree that's totally fine on your property and it hits your neighbor's property, no, you are not liable.
So Carmela is sending a letter to the Wembley HOA to say, this is, in her opinion, your situation to take care of, and we'll hear back from what happened. The homeowners were, frankly, how many times did you go there, street commissioner?
On to Sherbrooke?
Three or
Yeah,
different
2 or
times.
3 times, yes.
And the message every time is this is private property. No, we can't take a half hour of our time and cut up those trees that have fallen onto your backyard. So if we did that, we would do the whole length of Shearbrook, and they have a mess back there. Next one, Country Estates and Alderwood. You've had issues over the years between Country Estates, which was their first. They have 3 nice ponds. Alderwood came in later. Nice to tell you that I never realized for the past 10 years, the people of Country Estates doubled their dues and been saving money. Their pond, which was probably 1 or 2 feet deep now, they dug out the entire pond, they cut out the trees around it, took all that silt and just dumped it up on the banks of their property. They're building, I think it's a 60 to 100, I can't the exact amount, pavilion there. It's gonna look fabulous. And the work that we did, dealing with Country Estates and our drainage area of the anglers, that is also working perfectly. In fact, they went through, their contractor went through and cleaned out our ditch again. I mean, it's just been fresh, and the water is flowing. So we did our part, the HOA did their part. There's still an issue with the people from Alderwood who, their backyards back up to Schroon Lakes. They back up to the Schroon Lakes ponds. And at least one of the two ponds, the bank on the river, the bank on the lake is about 2 inches high. So when it rains strong, the water does not flow north, it flows east. So we're going to get those people together and try to encourage them to work this out. We've been lucky. We haven't had a lot of heavy rains in the past few years, but it's coming. And I would rather do due diligence to get people in here to talk about your situation, give them some advice, and then let them work it out. Mark already mentioned the Chillicothe backyard and the Bell Road ditch. That is also working well. In fact, again, the Manitowoc floodplain is working too well. People, the red rooms that used to flood and the house next to it, they've installed sump pumps, and they're pumping their water to the Bell Meadow ditch, which runs under Chillicothe and goes over to the Manitowoc floodplain. We've done such a good job that water is flowing through, and they're very happy. We had to make one adjustment. That's worked out very well. Almost last. Manitowoc Gardens HOA is just completing their ESID. Basically, they ran into what every other neighborhood is running into. After 40, 50 years, your land flattens out, swales disappear. So they poured a lot of their money into getting that fixed. And that should be over. Added the next year. NOACA, Northeast Ohio Area-wide Coordinating Agency had a water quality seminar on June 20th. It was very interesting on water quality. The USGS would come here every few years to talk about water quantity. There's new people in charge. They would love to come this fall to talk about water quality also. And probably the last thing on public utilities, there was a good webinar on Tree City, getting the award. I mean, Spring gets it every year. And I think now that we've started from the central retention basin, it's just something that I think we work our way around and get it behind the salt dome, the salt structure for, you know, it'd be nice to the neighbors to be able to say, oh, look, the village is putting up trees, arborvitaes, and mounds so that they're not looking at the back of that salt structure.
Chris Bell's all for that. So am I.
Okay, that's it on public utilities. Questions of the mayor on that one? Ordinances and resolutions. Mr. Berger, you want to take this one?
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance approving the contract between Maria Di Donato,
That's good enough.
doing business as Hip to That, collectively the band, and the Village of South Russell for musical services for the 2025 Fall Festival in an amount not to exceed $400, authorizing the mayor to execute the contract, declaring an emergency, waive further readings.
Second. Moved and seconded. Roll call.
Porter.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Galicki.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Porter.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Galicki.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. Next one, Ruth, is yours. You're buying a copy machine.
Introduce and consider for adoption an ordinance approving the purchase lease form for the itemized list of equipment pursuant to the master agreement between Canon USA and the Village of South Russell, ratifying the mayor's execution of the form on July 6, 2025, and declaring an emergency. Then move to waive readings.
Second.
Roll call.
Porter.
Aye.
Bell.
Aye.
Berger.
Aye.
Canton.
Aye.
Kavanaugh.
Aye.
Galicki.
Aye.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Porter.
Aye.
Bell,
Aye.
Berger,
Aye.
Canton,
Aye.
Kavanaugh,
Aye.
Stuckey.
Aye.
Ordinance passes. Move the bills list.
Thank you, Mayor.
Canton.
Councilman, could we split out the bills? Please, thank you.
Motion to ratify the bills list of June 16th, 2025, in the amount of $113,621.12.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Recuse.
And one recused. Motion passes on that one.
June 29th, 2025, in the amount of $64,476.93.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And approve July 15th, 2025, in the amount of $83,416.15.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Recuse.
Recused. Okay, motion passes. We are now at new other.
Porter,
None.
Bell,
None.
Berger,
None.
Canton,
None.
Kavanaugh,
None.
Stuckey.
We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we're adjourned at 9:09. Thank you.